Okay, so we're looking at multiplying and dividing fractions now. Okay, so let's start off with two questions. First of all, what is a quarter of a half? What is a quarter of a half? Well, let's look at this in the square. Okay, so if I have half a square, what is a quarter of that half? So I'd have to split that half up into quarters. Not very evenly done, but okay, so a quarter of it would just be any one of these, so one of these quarters. Okay, so what is it of the total then? It is, well, 1 out of, well, I haven't split this side into quarters, let's do that as well. So it's 1 out of 8. So the answer to that is 1 out of 8. 1 is a quarter of a half of a whole square. Now, you may notice that you can get there a little bit quicker. Of, in maths, is going to be the operation of multiplying. If you're looking for something of something, it's going to be multiplying. So if you think about back to decimals and percentages, you want to get 50% of something, you multiply by 0.5. So you can just do a quarter multiplied by a half like this instead of of. So if you see of in a word problem, it usually means we have to multiply. How do I multiply fractions? Well, we know the answer is 1/8. What's the thing I notice? Well, if I multiply 1 times 1 on top here, I get 1, and 4 times 2, I get 8. And that's how we do it. Multiply the numerator by numerator and denominator by denominator when we're multiplying fractions. And that gives us the answer. How about this second question? How many 1/8 fit into a half? Alright, so if I once again have a whole, so it's 1, I got to split it up into a half. How many 1/8 fit into that? Well, I got to split up the whole thing into 8s. And the whole thing as 8s is, okay, so this half has how many 8s? Well, it has got 4. There's 4 8s there. Okay, so how many 1/8 fit into a half? Well, the answer would be, well, 4 of them. So what's the answer? 4. How would I write that mathematically? That would be 1/2 divided by 1/8. Okay, so how do I do it a bit like this? Is there a magic method? Of course there is. Maths is magic. Remember Kentucky Fried Chicken. But I'm going to spell it wrong. KCF. If I keep the first fraction, keep. If I change the sign to a multiply, C. Change, keep, change, and flip. Give the reciprocal of the second fraction. So 8 over 1 instead of 1 over 8. F, flip. Keep, change, flip. And now multiply like I did in my first example. 1 times 8 gives 8. 2 times 1 gives 2. So 8 over 2, but that's not 4. But it can simplify to 4, can't it? If I divide the top by 2 and the bottom by 2, equivalent fraction style, 8 divided by 2 is 4, 2 divided by 2 is 1, so 4 over 1 is 4 whole, and I get the same answer. So, if I want to divide fractions, I keep, change, flip. Think Kentucky Fried Chicken. If I want to multiply fractions, and of is a word that is used instead of multiply in a lot of word questions. Quarter, multiply by half was numerator, multiply by numerator, denominator by denominator. Okay, so let's look at a quick example further of both using my methods I've now learned. Okay, so the first question I'm going to do, 3/4 multiplied by 5/8. The second question I'm going to do, 6/7 divided by, let's do 2/3. Okay, so these are straight fractions, no mixed or improper fractions here. So 3/4 multiplied by 5/8. Well, multiplying now should be quite easy. We've done our example using the box on the previous. So 3/4 of 5/8 are multiplied by 5/8. 3 times 5 is 15 at the top. So numerator times numerator, and 4 times 8 is 32. Always with multiplying or dividing, check, can I simplify that fraction? I don't think I can. That's an odd number, so 2 doesn't go in. These two digits don't add up to a divisor of 6, a multiple of 6, or multiple of 3. So the 3 doesn't go in, and 4 doesn't go in, 5 doesn't go in. Okay, so this is my answer. So straight line, 3 multiplied by 5, 4 multiplied by 8 in multiplying. Now with dividing, remember KFC, KCF. Oh no, I spelled it wrong, but that's how it is in maths. Keep the first fraction, 6/7. Change the sign to multiply. Flip or reciprocal the second fraction, 3/2. So what's a reciprocal? It's the fraction flipped upside down. Numerator becomes denominator, denominator becomes numerator. Multiply now as I did in my first example. 3 times 6 is 18. 7 times 2 is 14. Okay, I can simplify this though. Divide both by 2, and I get an equivalent fraction, which is 9/7. I can change that to a mixed if I want. It's improper, so it's maybe better to give mixed fraction. 7 fits in once with a remainder of 2. 7 fits into 9 once with a remainder of 2, so my answer is a mixed number is 1 2/7. All right. Does that make sense? So the answer to this is 1 2/7. Do we think that 2/3 fits into 6/7 once and a bit? 1 2/7? Yeah, I think it probably does. 6/7 would be bigger than 2/3, so 2/3 would fit in about 1 and a bit times. That makes sense. Okay. All right, good luck with those.